Identity loss has left you in pieces, fragments. You're unable to discern between the voices in your head, the thoughts just of your ego, or an actual calling, nudge from the soul. And when we're in the thick of the chaos and we are losing our sense of self, and perhaps we've been in this for quite some time, it could be really disorienting, defeating, almost as if nothing matters anymore. You don't want to do anything. It's a really draining experience because you're actually consuming a lot of, or sorry, you're expending a lot of energy just trying to live with all these split voices, opposing voices, it feels like. And so I want to share with you something today in hopes that you can use it and perhaps just sort of quiet down the noise, or at least start to discern between which is ego and which is soul. And if it is soul, what does it want from you? What does it need? If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm always grateful to have you guys here and watching the videos, liking, commenting, subscribing. It's really appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. All are welcome here in terms of those who want to move out of identity loss, live a life of purpose and meaning, and also an ego soul integrated lifestyle. And so if you're actually somebody who needs guidance and you want to get guidance from me personally, just click that button below, sign up to a call, and you'll see right there it says integration call. It'll be my absolute honor to share space with you to figure out what you're going through and hopefully come to some sort of solution. You're split from within. For me, sometimes when those moments come up and there's a split internally, one voice is saying the direction we're going is correct and it's strategic. But yet you have another voice, another feeling or sensation that says, no, it's not the right direction, because what if this happens and that happens and this happens? And they feel almost like separate personalities, right? And some days you can jump into the personality of being a visionary, excited, hopeful for the future. But then also in the next day, or maybe a couple days later, you kind of sit within this second personality that says, I don't think that's possible. I'm feeling doubtful. I'm feeling concerned. The first thing you want to do is build awareness of these maybe multiple voices, multiple feelings. You have to start to get a sense of where they are from within, because sometimes they're localized. Sometimes it's within the heart. Sometimes the pain or discomfort is within the gut. It moves around all sorts. You want to locate where it is. Find out what's going on. Number two, when you start to build that awareness, you want to start to actually now identify what this personality is like. So, every video I talk about journaling and the benefits of it and how it can really help just sort of separate yourself from your pains. This way, it doesn't feel so embodied and emotionally gripping. It's still going to be emotional, but having it on paper that you can look at, it does ease the pain slightly, enough to actually work on it and not have it be overwhelming. But by all means, if you have your own process, your own method of doing this type of work, by all means. In fact, I would love to even hear what types you guys have so you can share it in the comments below. But journaling is always a good go-to. So what you want to do is write down the feeling, the sensation, the local area of what's going on. Where is it? Where is it? What does it look like? It's you, right? So if it's you, what kind of clothing does it wear? What sort of attitude does it have? What sort of posture does it have? It feels silly at first to do all this because, you're thinking, well, what does it matter? But what ends up happening is you can actually start to personify this individual and you can get a more deeper, richer sense of what's happening. And believe it or not, awareness, even at a base level, is going to do a lot for healing, because oftentimes we're not really quite sure what's going on. And so having the illumination of, okay, well, here are the characteristics of this individual in my head. Here's what it thinks. Here's what it wants. All of a sudden, you can actually start to come up with some solutions. And having some sense of solution is going to give you some level of peace for the moment. Once you do that, then you want to start writing out its traits. So whenever this individual kicks in, a part of you that is doubtful, that regrets, that is concerned and stressed. Well, list out the personality traits. List it out. How would this individual walk? How would this individual speak? What does this individual say to you often? Start to classify it. Once you start to classify it, right off the bat, you're already going to feel maybe not exactly better, but you are going to feel some sense of relief because perhaps now you found some level of distinction in the voices, in these feelings. You can start to kind of get them a little organized. And you want to keep doing this for however many you experience. Sometimes you'll have the ambitious individual from within, then you have the regretful, then you have the resentful. So you want to start splitting them up, just sort of compartmentalizing at first. Eventually, we want to integrate these emotions. If you stay fragmented, it's just not going to help. There's always going to be conflict. But in the beginning, it's nice. It's nice to just sort of split them up. And so go about that list. Then, once you do that, you want to get to the point where you can actually communicate. You want to start asking questions. That's why I'm very heavy on getting that first part organized. Otherwise, the second half, when you actually start dialoguing, it's not going to feel as vivid. It's not going to feel as powerful. And so start dialoguing. And you want to ask it questions that are going to be related to you. It really depends on your scenario. So, but a basic question you can ask is, what is it that you need from me? What is it that you're concerned about? What is it that I can do today to help alleviate your pain and discomfort? Now, I always say this in all of my videos. When you do, this is called parts work and inner dialogue work. When you do this type of activity, it's really important. You don't want to do it from a place of wanting answers right away and demanding that it come forward. It's not going to really work like that. You want to be patient, relaxed, composed, calm when you enter into this sort of practice. As you stay in that state, over time, you will get an answer. An answer will come to you. Now, will the answer be something you want? Maybe. Would it be something you wanted to hear? Probably not. I usually say always just be prepared for anything. Do not go in with any expectation. And the most important thing to understand is, as much as we want this feeling, this chaos to just be done and over with, and believe me, I know the feeling of wanting it to be done right here now, but the part of healing, the part of integrating these different fragments requires that you do not put a timeline on it, because simply by putting a timeline on it, now you've added an additional voice, an additional energy that now is feeling this, well, I'm not healed yet, so therefore I'm not in a good place right now, and this sucks, and I hate it, I just want to be out of it. And so it just keeps you fixated on the pain. And so as much as you can, you want to abandon the timeline, allow it to just happen when it happens, micro to macro, make the small changes that in time lead to bigger changes in your psychology, in your inner world, your inner universe. Once you identify the traits, then you can start to feel a little bit of stronger awareness of what's going on. Then you move into the category of asking questions. And now what's the next step after that? Now comes the integration portion. One thing to note, when you are given a solution, the solution, to some degree, has to be in the best interest of yourself, but also of your family and your community. So if the voice is saying to you, well, we need to stand up for ourselves more, because it's great that you're helping people, and that's who you believe you are, but at the same time, we're getting walked all over. The answer isn't, well, now I'm just going to say no to every single person I ever see from now till death. It's not in the best interest of yourself, definitely not in the best interest of your family or loved ones, friends, and also your community. So it has to sort of be passed through those filters. Now, I understand certain contexts and certain circumstances can change, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're not doing anything that's going to cause this cascading damage across society. As much as sometimes we can feel rejected by society, we can be angry about it, we don't want to bring that kind of pain and damage to now other people and then continue this snowball effect of pain. So instead, find the solution that is going to pass through those filters and then begin implementing the action. Because if you just stay in the theoretical, if you stay in the mental, it's never going to work because you have to ground it. You have to ground your practice in an activity that's going to then give you a positive and strong feedback loop towards this, towards integrating these different parts. And as you ground it in action, this is really important. You don't have to do it all at once. You can pick something small and slowly work towards it. You can, if you watch some other videos, I have a method I call the 3-6-1, so 3 years, 6 months, and daily. And so it's a way you can actually split your integration journey in a way that can at least give you a sense of orientation, a sense of direction, but not so fixated that you become consumed by it, and no timeline at all, so you don't feel a sense of this is going to be forever. I don't have any sense of direction of where this is going to go. So you want to find that sweet balance. So I have videos on that if you want to watch. Otherwise, stay consistent. Integration, understand it's a journey. It is not something you can acquire overnight. Even for me, after years and years of going through identity loss and then coming out of it more integrated, integration has levels to it. I'm nowhere near the top of it, because what does that even mean? What does that even look like? I mean, who really knows? But I've come a long way through my through my journeys and developed a lot of practices that have helped me navigate out of it. And it's something that I'm so excited to share with you. So again, if you are in need of guidance through your identity loss, your integration journey, click that button below, book a call with me, and let's share space. I want to make something very clear. This isn't about fixing everything in a single call, because the reality is we're not going to fix everything in a single call. But what we are going to do is at least build some awareness, identify what's going on. And if there's one thing that I find comes very natural to me, this is something since birth, I have a really good ability of finding patterns in an individual. I can figure things out pretty quickly. Simply because I just put all my focus and attention on you. It's when people book a call with me, you get my full undivided attention for that entire time. Oftentimes I go over, I shouldn't, but sometimes I just get caught up in the phone call that it can go over. I've gone as far as an hour and a half over time, which is it's extreme, but just get immersed in the moment. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.